Don't you spend enough time waiting for patches, system updates, and even worse, title updates? On Lag Free, we won't waste your time, and we talk about the topics that you want to hear about in a decidedly different fashion. No scripts or forced sides here. Listen to Lag Free, recorded and released regularly on Intrepid Audio Productions.
The best. Or worst food. What I ate. Check it out at the best or worst food, whatIate.blogspot.com.
Sort of break it down like this.
Oh, fantastic. He is one of the biggest meatballs on Twitter.
I'm an idiot.
No, it's okay.
Nice to meet you, I'm Mike.
Could you please take back Tim Tebow?
Oh, awesome.
Play college football in touch.
I don't understand where these questions are coming from, Tom. That's about it for Manager's Corner. Go yourself and with your show coming up next on the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
I made a note about college sports, and the note just says college sports in general.
Whammy!
Can't do it.
The changes that have happened in the Cub organization are multifold.
Boogie Boogie. Great stuff. Welcome back to Chicago Sports Update here on Intrepid Audio Productions. Just to all the listeners, thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Chicago Sports Update here on IAP Podcast. This is Matt.
And this is Brandon.
Yes, we are back. We have the Elite Eight of sports movie madness for you, year two. Take it away, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, the Sweet 16 took place this week, and now we are set for the Elite Eight. The results of the Sweet 16 in the From Page to Screen podcast. It was the 1 seed Rocky versus the 4 seed Happy Gilmore. The 4 seed Happy Gilmore advances to the Elite Eight. Happy Gilmore will take on the 3 seed Jimmy Dugan, who defeated the 2 seed Rick Vaughn. Jimmy Dugan, of course, is from A League of Their Own. Rick Vaughn from Major League. In the Knights of the Video Game Table podcast, that's lots to say. It was the 8 seed Al Cervic going up against the 4 seed Gail Sayers. The 8 seed with the minor upset, Al Cervic, advances to the Elite Eight. Will take on the 3 seed Brian Piccolo, who defeated Mickey Goldmill, who was the 7 seed. So Al Cervic has taken out one character from Brian's song. Will he take out another? Kind of interesting. In the Game Over Takeover podcast region, it was the 1 seed Crash Davis going up against the 12 seed The Dude from The Big Lebowski, and The Big Lebowski narrowly edges out Crash Davis. We'll take on the winner of the 3 seed Handsome Brothers versus the 7 seed Ty Webb, and it was closer than I thought it would be. The 3 seed, however, does advance. Handsome Brothers move on to face the Dude. In the Lonely Robot comic region, the 1 seed Ricky Bobby gets upset against the 13 seed Dottie Henson, a 13 seed in the Elite Eight. Didn't see that one coming. Dottie Henson will face the 3 seed Shooter McGavin, who destroyed the 2 seed Rod Tidwell. Rod Tidwell apparently didn't even have a chance. My prediction last week was that we could have a all 3 seed Final Four, and that holds true. All 3 seeds advance. The 3 1 seeds that were still in it are all now gone, so no more 1 seeds in the tournament. All 3 seeds still in the tournament. However, just from seeing the way the votes kind of went down this week, the Handsome Brothers might be in trouble because they struggled against Ty Webb. So Handsome Brothers going up against the Big Lebowski, the Dude, a 12 seed and a 3 seed. That 12 seed looks dangerous. So
Yes.
And same thing with Dottie Henson, just keeps rolling. Shooter might be in trouble, but I think the rest looks like the 3 seeds could keep rolling here.
Yeah, some bracket busting going on. So
That's what we like. Makes it fun.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you very much for updating that. Of course, voting will be open as pretty much as soon as the show is over. New link will be posted with an updated PDF for the tournament, so please feel free to click on that link and get a copy of your own. Of course, we will have the matchups listed on our Facebook page as well. You can vote through our Facebook page by leaving a comment. You can also, we ask that you do share as well as a like so that other people can see this as well. You can vote on Twitter via the hashtag SportsMM. And you can also email your votes in to us at iappodcast@gmail.com.
Nice.
Yes, indeed. So that really covers it for Sports Movie Madness. Thanks for all that have continued to vote and will be voting, so we do thank you for that. Well, now we can move on to, I guess, really the rest of the meat of the show, and a lot of trading going on from both sides of the United Center. The Bulls acquiring Mr. White Basketball, and your favorite, and I think the only white basketball player you acknowledge. So
yes, Jimmer Fredette is now a Bull. The Bulls ruined my whole thing because at work I was telling everyone the Bulls are undefeated with Jimmer in the lineup. They were 1-0, and now because they lost to Brooklyn last night, they're just a 500 team with Jimmer. I don't know why. I think the reason why I like Jimmer is because on NBA 2K he's absolutely phenomenal because he can hit threes from anywhere. I think that's what started my fandom with him, and it was actually normally I'm not very happy when Bulls get white basketball players. I was actually happy they got Jimmer, even though he's not really seeing the floor a whole lot. Though they just acquired him, and he came from a team who doesn't play defense at all or any sort of functional offense. So maybe once Thibodeau kind of gets his defense and offense into Jimmer's head, maybe he'll see the court a little bit more. Hopefully in time for the playoffs. It'd be kind of fun.
Meaningless playoffs. Oh gosh, it feels so long ago that we were talking about tank wins and going in for the lottery.
Yeah, but now they're gonna be a 3 seed and will win in the first round of the playoffs and lose to either the Pacers or the Heat, whichever they play.
Yeah, frustrating as it is. Was there some talk of going on back and forth between Derrick Rose or something? I thought I heard his name come back in to play, and I was just like, really? No, just shut up. I don't want to hear anything about it.
I don't know. I
don't care. Who cares?
I might have heard it and didn't pay any attention to it because he's whatever. I could care less about him, unfortunately.
So that's really the case. The trade deadline in the NHL is approaching. It is tomorrow. Well, that being March. Oh gosh, what is it? Days are all mixed up. March 5th. Pushed back quite a bit due to the Olympics and whatnot. But busy day, a lot of activity going on. Seemingly Phoenix is dismantling their team, and that's quite fine by me. And in doing so, the Blackhawks ended up picking up a couple of defensemen from Phoenix, specifically Matthew Bribeau, and who I believe is going to the AHL and for the Rockford Ice Hogs, the affiliate for Blackhawks, and David Runbald is coming to the team. Both were in exchange for a next year's, a 2014 second round draft pick. So I guess they're pretty confident in their scouting, and these players are more valuable than stocking up their farm system again, which honestly, there's a lot of good talent coming out. I know Brandon Peary, I think, was traded earlier.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. I liked him. He had some offensive skill. And they gave an extension to Brandon Bolig with, for... I forget the number, but it's a 3-year deal and way too much money for Brandon Bolig. So I'm going to say it wasn't the best week for Blackhawks front office. But this guy, David, how do you pronounce it? Because it's Runbald is what I want to say, but it's spelled Runblad, which sounds weird. So
If I said Runbald, I apologize.
You said Runbald,
now,
and it could be.
Oh,
I mean, Brett Favre. Whatever. So, I've never heard of this guy. What scares me is some of the hockey brains in the city. I have never heard of this guy, but he was
hockey brains. That's my first question.
Jay Zawaski had never heard of him.
Oh,
so
okay.
That scares me.
The brain.
And he was a number one pick in 2009, I think I read. So, obviously there was something originally with this guy, and maybe he just needs a change of scenery. I read that he himself has been bounced back from the AHL and NHL since 2011. So maybe just, change of scenery for him will work. Because they have acquired a couple of defensemen, I read that it's possible that both Leddy and Oduya could be on the block. I hope that's not the case with Leddy for sure. I really like Leddy. Oduya, I like him, but I think he would be my least favorite defenseman on the Hawks. So at least out of the skilled defenseman, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, you're right. I guess I did mispronounce it. That is David Rundblad. There's not really a whole lot. In a lot of these moves almost seem to just correspond to what St. Louis was able to do and pick up and beef up their their core. Although I really don't think much of Ryan Miller.
Yeah, but I think you got to. Even though his first game tonight, I guess he's struggling, but he's goaltending he was goaltending for the Buffalo Sabres, who I've never skated in my life, but I'm pretty sure I can make their team. Is like putting a good team in front of him, I think he's going to be a lot better. So even though he's struggling tonight, I foresee it to be a good move, and it scares me. I think St. Louis might be actually the team to beat. Maybe not the team to beat in the West, but the team that the Hawks should be most weary of.
And I think I certainly think they will. I know there was a lot of talk about trying to beef up the offense. We're sitting here spoiled saying that, the Hawks want to beef up their offense and get a number 2 center and get another center here.
Well, they need a number 2 center. That is.
Yeah, I agree. There's been some rumors regarding Ryan Kessler from Vancouver, as well as
he's so hard to
Jason.
root for him, wouldn't it?
Oh man, that would be it really would. And
I would welcome him with open arms because he's a stud. But I've gone the last 4 years hating the guy. Yeah,
and Jason Spezza from Ottawa is also has been talked to us. Rumors have been circulating regarding him. One thing to keep in mind regarding this Matthew Briebold is that he's 21. He has 4 points in 28 AHL games, but he also has 30 minutes. Now, all that to me sounds like is they got Jonathan Scott, again, a younger version of Jonathan Scott. And everyone was head over heels for him the past couple of years, the last year. And it was like, really, this guy's no good. Well, keep in mind, we're talking about the same people that want Josh McCown to be the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. So I think there's a very good correlation between those two. So I don't know. Stupid and frustrating, but I'm with you as far as rooting for Kessler. I mean, how many times has this guy just kind of been such a punk? And
he's offensively talented too, so he can put in the back of the net. So I would
really
like him. But as a Hawk,
maybe I'm just getting my Canucks confused. But who was the one that won't? Is it Bieksa that will like just bitch out and be I should say punk out, like throw hits but can never take them, or will avoid hits or confrontations at any or all costs?
I wish I could answer that intelligently, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. There's so many of them. It's just like they're just such a bunch of puds is one way to put it. Up in Vancouver, and to see them have a really rough season really is quite delicious. And to further their misery, and now almost seemingly just dissolve all pseudo hatred and just kind of making fun of the Canucks, they ended up trading Roberto Luongo to Florida and his giant contract there. So it's it's funny, I guess is the best way to put it, because I mean, this is
I just want to know if Dale Talon is going to blame someone in his office who made the trade if it doesn't work out. Like I didn't do the paperwork; someone else did it.
Probably. Some news regarding Dave Bolin, who is coming up as an unrestricted free agent this year. He's apparently asking for, I guess, around $5 million per season for a total of 7 or 8 seasons, and he's okay when he's not injured. Unfortunately, he seems to always be injured, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not $5 million good.
No, but I don't know, because I like him.
Yeah, but do you like him at the tune of $5 million?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not my money,
don't.
but like you said,
It's true.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how to feel about that one.
Yeah. No, but they certainly the big blockbuster really happening right now between Florida and Vancouver, changing a lot of players. It's interesting. So I don't specifically expect Florida to become this new powerhouse out of the East, though I really don't think they are much of a powerhouse anyway, and still have a long ways to go to even be the best team in Florida. So.
What were the other teams? Tampa, is that it?
Yeah, just Tampa.
Okay, no. Weird East teams I can't really keep up with.
Goofy East teams. So yeah, that's pretty much it. A couple other trades have happened. Ilya Bryzgalov finally exited Edmonton and went to the Minnesota Wild. So yay for them! And all they got in return was a 4th-round pick.
It's like the West is getting stronger.
The Central's getting stronger.
that too.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Trying to think if there was anything really else going on. Oh, reports are indicating that the Bears will not re-sign Devin Hester. Does that break your heart?
No. Not at all, actually. Like, I mean, I'm not usually one to be like, oh, I can't see him in another jersey, but, you know what I mean? If he ends up somehow, because I don't know if he would ever score another touchdown. I don't know if he has it in him, but he only needs, one more, right, to break Deion's record for the all-time returns? Like, it would be nice to see that in a Bears uniform. And even though he doesn't have any, like, even a fraction of what he used to have, whenever there was, like, a moment where you thought he might break it, it was like, oh my God, is this a Devin Hester moment? And I'll miss that for sure. Like, I'll miss that excitement that even though I knew he probably wasn't going to, like, I'm like, oh, wait, is this Devin Hester? So that would be, in that way, like, during the games, I might be like, man, I wish we still had Hester. But, like, moving back from the situation, looking at it, it's like, why was he even on the team this year? You know, so.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I would like to see him return, get that final return to break the record. Fans thought, the team thought that the record was going to be broken this year. There was a just stupid penalty that took it back. So it almost feels like, oh gosh, it feels so long ago. And,
yeah, like in that moment, I was like yelling at the top of my lungs. I mean, I was so excited. And like that's what I mean. Like those types of moments, it wasn't the fact that he was a game changer. It was like, it became, because he was the greatest of all time to do it. It just became a thing. You know what I mean? And it's, that is gone now, at least from the Chicago Bears. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'll miss it on game days. I don't miss it right now, but I'll miss it on game days, I'm sure.
Yeah. Two things quickly going back to the NHL. Brandon Perry was traded to Florida for a third-round pick for the 2014 draft, as well as a fifth-round pick in 2016. Now Dale Tallon can overpay another player that he really may have selected, but we'll see. I can't recall if Brandon Perry was a Bowman guy
I think he
or
was
a Tallon guy.
I think he was a Bowman guy.
Yeah. I wasn't too impressed with him. Maybe his game will suit better in the East.
See, I liked him. I thought he had offensive talent, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. And apparently some news breaking that, well, not breaking, but recently released, that Ryan Kessler will not waive his no-trade clause to the New York Rangers to rejoin his buddy, or former buddy, Alain Vigneault, who is coaching the Rangers. So that's that's a nice little slap in the face, I think. Saying, you know what? No, I don't want to play for you again. So,
Speaking of slaps in the faces,
yes.
What happened to Ben Gordon is a huge slap in the face. Did you hear about this?
No, I will Google. I'll start it. Go ahead, fill us in.
He was, I believe was it Charlotte Bobcats? Is that the team he was on? I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you can find it. But they cut him the day after the deadline for teams to sign a player and having them still eligible for the playoffs.
Oh, that stinks.
How low?
That stinks.
Like, what did he do to them? Like, they were really mad at him. Like,
Michael Jordan doesn't.
You
like
have stole so much money from us that another team can sign you, but you're definitely not gonna play in the playoffs. I mean, the day after, when I heard that, I was like, wow, because I would have been okay for the Bulls to sign him for a playoff run. I mean, why not? You know, like he can put the ball in the hoop.
Yeah.
What else do the Bulls have going on the offensive side? So I couldn't believe they did that. It was kind of pretty low.
Oh man, this is funny. The people also searched for section of Google after looking up Ben Gordon. I just see like this like flood of like Bulls names and rumors circulating some of these people if they were not already Bulls. But number one, Gilbert Arenas. I remember talks of him coming. Baron Davis, Luol Deng, Richard Hamilton, and Charlie Villanueva. So those are the people they also search for Ben Gordon. Search for better players.
Well, I guess if you're searching for Ben Gordon, you're not searching for like superstars.
I wonder if these are executives that are Googling these guys.
Is Charlie Villanueva still in the league? And who do I need to call if I want to make a trade?
Does it have his agent listing? Please let us know. Yeah. Oh man, that's great. That's real great. Let's see. That does it for me. Spring training's been going on. I heard an interview with Theo Epstein. I got to say, you guys got some good stuff going on right there. Boy, except I almost feel like his message gets lost with so many different things.
There's a lot there. And the reason why he has to kind of explain maybe so much is when he first came here, I think all Cubs fans were really excited. And some probably didn't really understand what his job was and what his plan was, maybe. And I think he's not his fault, but I think he has maybe lost some of the fandom who expected things to happen quicker, things to happen sooner. And that was never his intention in the first place. So I think now he's trying to explain to those fans, those people, you know, what kind of the plan is going from here on. The plan never changed, but kind of just reinforcing the fact that, you know, we started out with a plan. You guys were with us. Nothing has changed. You know, what we've done is working, actually. You know, at the major league level, no, we're not seeing the wins that obviously even Theo would like to see, but they're getting closer. The minor league prospects are studs, okay? And they're going to be here within the next couple of years, and I'm talking the majority of them. Some of them will be up here early this year, I have a feeling. And I think he's just trying to make the fandom see, like, hey, this is actually working.
You know, I really would like to agree with it, and I do believe that I agree with you in the fact that I think he has lost some of the fandom in understanding what was supposed to be going on and what the plan is. When he was asked,
necessarily blame those fans. Like it's hard. It is hard.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely. I feel like he's doing what when you say he's not seeing the wins that he'd like to see at the major league level. I think that's more pure and simple lip service, because winning at the major league level at the position that he's in right now and that the team's state is right now does them no good. They as an organization need to be able to get to those draft picks. I mean, I was very happy to see, a near 99 loss White Sox team happen, because I knew that we would be able to restock the farm system a little bit.
But do you think he can't do his job as, like, would it hurt him much to get a top 25 pick rather than a top 5 pick? Like, is there that much difference?
I think it's a good question. I think the difference between a top 10 pick and a top 25 pick is big, meaning, if you're going back from 11 to 25, it's different from 1 to 10, but certainly I think the distinction is there if you're going from 1 to 10 to 20 to 30. And I'm not saying that they're one of the top 10 teams. I don't expect them to be a top 10 win team this year in baseball. By no means. I don't even think they are expecting that at all. I was talking with Megan in a car ride today that I think that Theo's biggest obstacle at this point in time right now is ownership and the lack of continuity between the aggressiveness from ownership to renovate Wrigley, and therefore the neighborhood in Wrigleyville and Wrigley Field are the biggest hindrance to putting out a major league product and a product that can win the World Series. I firmly believe, and I shudder to even have these words pass through my lips, but I believe that if the Cubs were to be out of Wrigley in a brand new facility dedicated to Cubs and Cubs business, the Cubs would be very likely to win the World Series within 7 years of that point in time. All things considered, with the success that they're having right now at the minor league level, and of course, if that talent comes to fruition, I think it could very well happen.
It's a pretty big if, though.
It is, but that's a bitter. I'd much rather. If I was a Cubs fan, I'm glad I'm not. But if I had to listen to, if I had to suffer through how long that suffering has been, and say, okay, you know what, I'll take a 7-year plan and sacrifice Wrigley. You and Mike aren't that big. You would rather have the World Series than Wrigley. I believe that.
I'd rather have the Cell than Wrigley. I'm not a Wrigley fan at all. Like, it's like, it's almost like an NFL game. Wrigley's really nice to look at on my TV. Like, it looks really cool. The ivy looks nice. The scoreboard is historic. The neighborhood feel. You don't really get that in most ballparks.
Right.
But inside the ballpark, it's old, crumbled, smells like urine. They sell a beer that I do not like. The Cell sells a beer I do like. The Cell is cleaner, better food. Like, there's so many reasons, like, not to like Wrigley, just because it's historic. You know what? What was even more historic was Yankee Stadium, okay?
Yeah.
And they tore it down.
Yeah, and renovating, being able to renovate Fenway and bring in new sources of revenue and revitalize that ballpark, which in turn helped revitalize some of the businesses. Of course, management, I'm sure Boston ownership taking over some of those businesses and, focusing all tertiary sources of income, funneling it into baseball operations and baseball development is a tremendous boom to the team. And look at the success that they've had. It's kind of like, hey, I almost feel like if Theo was able to say, go in front of whatever town hall they need and say, hey, morons, we could have this if you give this to us or you let us do this, this is what can happen. Do you want this? And unfortunately right now, a lot of the talk about it is no, they don't want to do it. There's this false sense of ownership from the community, from rooftop owners, from the city, from that, I don't want to call it that village, but that region, sector, I don't know, that ward, I guess is the best way to put it, is just so resistant to it. It's just utterly comical. When they're the biggest economic engine for that area and for the city. I mean, the city relies a lot on whatever the Chicago Cubs do, and if the Chicago Cubs win, of course, tourism money is going to just funnel in there. So it's kind of it's preposterous to me. I know we've talked about it ad nauseum before, but when asked, directly about are we going to see some of the new players come up and play at the major league level as a quote cookie for the fans, he flat out said, no, I'm not here to give you cookies. I'm here to give a feast. And a feast is sustained success and the ability to put a competent baseball product, a competitive, or I would even call it hyper competitive. I'm adding hyper to that because he didn't say that. But at a hyper competitive, because that's honestly the goal, to put a hyper competitive baseball team on the field.
Well, my hope is that it's not that they don't come up here because they're cookies. It's because Baez is destroying AAA, or you know what I mean, like where they force their hands. Like, okay, it's ridiculous to keep him down here. We need to bring him up to the majors. Like, that's what I want. That's what every Cubs fan should want. Like, some of the young guys to come up here, not just because of, for a cookie, but like, and what if, and this could happen because it happens in baseball all the time. Teams that you don't expect to win start winning. Say the Cubs get off to a really good start in the first couple of months. Don't you want to bring up one of these guys because they could actually help you when, like you can't tank if, you get off to a hot start. There's why tank? Go for it. Bring up one of these top 4 guys if they can help your ball club, if they're ready, and if there's no sense in keeping them down there any longer.
I think one of the worst possible things that could have happened to Theo into the baseball world last year happened, and that was the Red Sox going from a worst to first position. And it's honestly like, it's such a different baseball world in stratosphere where we're talking Boston, meaning the organization, not, fans or any of that stuff, but taking what Boston was able to do and turn their ship so around that they end up winning the World Series. I'm not in, and Theo's not in the business of false hope. I think he's in the business of in trying to build a sustainable competitive product. But what I think that he's willing to do is sacrifice this year of development for some of those players like Chris Archer, Javier Baez, Jorge Soler, if they just fly out of the gate and they're eating everything up from every point of view, from AA, AAA, and it's kind of like, oh, we have to get them here right now. And even if the team's mediocre and could be competitive with them, even more competitive with them, I don't think he'd do it, because at some point in time you're going to have to pay them. If you bring them up too early and they're very good, they fall into a Super 2 category. I don't think that that's necessarily part of the business that they want to do. I think what their game plan is, renovate Wrigley, get the new sources of income, but then sign these guys to the contracts that they want to sign. that the Cubs want them to sign, meaning 6-7 year deals that buys them out of 1-2 years of free agency where you get their prime production, and when they're done at that point in time, you can let them go to whoever wants them because the money is it's just not worth it for keeping them around to buy down a broken horse and fall in line with the principle of getting rid of a guy 1 year too soon rather than 1 year too late. So that's what I think. Purely speculative. I don't know. I'm not in their operations. I'm not in their business center and what they want to do. But it makes sense, especially with how cold Theo has been regarding bringing up the AAA, AA minor league farm talent.
But couldn't even that be almost lip service? Like, just in case it doesn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if.
Yeah, like hedging his bet.
Like if Baez is hitting like 370 or something, and the Cubs are hanging around the top of the Central in, let's say, the end of May, like, you know what I mean? Like, why not bring him up and go for it? Why not bring up Chris Bryant if he's hitting the cover off the ball and the Cubs are in it? You know what I mean? Like, why not do it? To me, it wouldn't make sense. I hear what you're saying, but like, it wouldn't make sense to not do it.
Right. I know. I agree. I hear I hear exactly what you're saying.
Like
I think
your ultimate goal is to win the World Series, not to have the best AA and AAA teams in baseball. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think it gets you closer to winning the World Series in some point here in the near future. I think the dream season that can happen for Theo is that Mike Olt is the cookie, or Mike Ott. Whatever, I can't recall if it's Olt or Ott.
And yes,
okay.
I have expectations for him. I think he could be like a surprise star this year.
I think he'll come with he'll head north with the team, and I think he'll be the quote unquote cookie or the preview for the minor leagues. And honestly, the best thing I think that could happen would be Starlin Castro bounces back, has his head in the game.
Well, what if this injury lingers for Castro too? I mean,
well, that's the thing.
That could throw in a wrench into the plan.
That's the yes. I think Theo needs him. Excuse me. I think Theo needs him healthy so that, because I don't think he's going to be long for the Cubs world. I think he's a nice piece, but I think they can make another Starlin Castro.
Well,
if not a better one. I think they even have a better one.
Like 3 years ago that we'd be talking about Castro filling a spot until someone else is ready. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel it is. Like, I feel that. I feel like Castro is holding that major league spot until these four guys are ready, because they all play pretty much the left side of the infield. Yeah. And you can only put one of them in left field. You can only put one of them at third base. One of them is going to have to play shortstop. So
right.
It's so crazy to me that 3 years ago we thought he was the future of the Cubs, that he was going to be the guy here forever. And now it's like, okay, we need you to be healthy so you can hold the spot until these other guys are ready.
Right, be healthy, or even get some trading back, because while I think they're very happy with some of the development that Chris Archer's the pitcher, right?
Yes.
Or is it Chris Bryant? Shoot,
no, Chris Bryant,
because they traded. Okay. Yeah, because they didn't trade Archer, because I thought they did.
I'd have to look it up.
Now I know that there's a pitcher that was doing very well for them, and in their minor leagues, that is. But seeing that they're doing a very good job of identifying position players, they're not necessarily doing that the same with the pitching side. And a piece like Starlin Castro could bring you back maybe one or two pitchers from somebody's minor league system, from a team that could need left side of the infield player that, well, frankly, a change of scenery would certainly help. I could see him going to Miami and doing well there. Tampa would be a tough sell, I think. But he's a player that I think has more value to them outside of the organization than within the organization. And I'm right there with you. Who would have thought we would be ever saying that?
Right.
Especially in the short, in what, 2 years?
Yeah, it didn't take long.
No, it really didn't. But I guess that we can attribute that to our thinking, the way that we're trying to think similarly to Cubs management as far as making the team better for sustained success. So, all right, that about does it for me. You got anything else?
Just one little package thing. I want to congratulate you and Megan on the birth of your first child. Pretty cool, man. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, we had our. He was born on Thursday evening after a very long 15 hours. So we're very happy about that. He's healthy, happy, and well, that's all we can really ask for. Name is Ryan Francis. So we're very happy about that. So thank you.
I think you should have went with Ryan, but that's okay.
It's funny. I was thinking about that, just almost making fun of some of making fun of a couple of people on the other side regarding that, but that would have been too funny. But I don't think they would have gotten the joke. So,
okay.
But that's okay. So,
his name is Ryan, guys, not Ryan.
Exactly. Oh man. Let's see. That does it for me again. You got anything else?
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian, for that. Thank you for joining me tonight. And thanks to all of our listeners for participating tonight, as well as for participating in Sports Movie Madness. Again, get out there and vote. We certainly appreciate it. So that does it for me, and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Chicago Sports Update here on Intrepid Audio Productions. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter by searching IAP Podcasts, all one word. We make it easy to listen to us at home or on the go because you can subscribe to us via iTunes or on your browser at Spreaker.com. Listen to us on the go with the Stitcher Radio app, available for all smartphones. Want to interact with the team directly? Leave any questions, comments, or feedback you may have at our Facebook page. You can also like our page to know about special events, shows topics, and listen directly on our page to new and past episodes. Feel free to email us anytime at iappodcasts@gmail.com. IAP Podcasts, pioneering the best in independent podcasting.
Hello, listeners. Once you're done catching up with everything Intrepid Audio Productions has to offer, check out some other great independent podcast shows like the Knights of the Video Game Table podcast. Jeremy, Patrick, and Frank do great work, and it's worth your time to check them out. They're part of the Nerdgasm Network, where you can find other cool shows, including the Super Budget Brothers, the Nerdgasm Network video game podcast, and all other shows, which can be found at extraplay.info. Give them a listen, because good, honest work can be hard to find.